We all kind of know that a walk in the park is good for you, right? But what if I told you those amazing mental health benefits aren't being shared equally? Well, today we're diving deep into a scientific review that asks a really important question. Are our parks working for everyone? Let's break down what the research has to say. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle what's called the green space paradox. Then we need to get clear on a super important distinction, sex versus gender. Trust me, it's key. After that, we'll look at what the hard data actually shows, uncover the real-world barriers getting in the way, and finally explore a roadmap for building better, more inclusive spaces for all of us. All right, let's jump right into this central conflict. We have this idea, this assumption really, that parks and green spaces are just universally good for our minds. But as it turns out, the reality is, well, it's a lot more complicated than that.
And this is the question at the heart of it all. It really makes you stop and think about a basic assumption we have about our cities. Because if the answer is no, the benefits aren't shared fairly, that has huge implications for public health and for the well-being of millions of people.
And here is the paradox, laid out plain and simple. On one hand, we know women experience depression at much higher rates, which means they stand to gain the most from these green spaces. But on the other hand, the data shows they're actually using parks less. A lot less. So the million-dollar question is why? What is going on here? To really get to the bottom of that why, we have to be super precise about the words we're using. The researchers behind this review argue that a very common mix-up, confusing sex with gender, is actually hiding the real root of the problem. So let's just get this crystal clear. Sex is about biology, right? It's about our physical and reproductive traits as male or female. Gender, though, that's social. It's about all the roles, the expectations, and even the power dynamics that society builds around those biological facts. And understanding that difference, it's a total game changer for this conversation. This is exactly why it matters so much. As this quote points out, so many of the differences we see aren't hardwired by biology, they're shaped by society. It's not about our bodies, it's about the world we've built. So, with that in mind, let's see what the data actually tells us. So, the researchers didn't just do one study. They pulled together the results from 16 different scientific papers to see if a bigger pattern emerged. What did they find when they looked at all that evidence at once? Okay, this is fascinating. Out of all the studies, 7 of them, the largest single group by far, found that green spaces actually had more mental health benefits for women. Only 3 found the opposite was true for men. Just think about that for a second. Even though women are using these parks less, the science suggests that when they do get to use them, the positive impact can be even stronger. It just makes the paradox that much deeper, doesn't it? And here it is, the big headline from the whole review. Green spaces are a powerful weapon against depression, and that effect seems to be especially true for women. This makes figuring out why they're being kept away from these spaces even more urgent. Which brings us right to the heart of it. If the potential upside is so huge, what are the actual, real-world barriers that are stopping women from getting these benefits? The research points to some really powerful factors, and they are all social. The list is pretty telling. Right at the top, you have things like fear of crime and just not feeling safe. But it goes way deeper than that. We're talking about social rules that might restrict women's freedom or public spaces that feel dominated by men. What's so clear here is that these aren't biological issues at all. This is about gender and how our society is set up. And maybe one of the biggest, most overlooked barriers is the physical design of the park itself. I mean, think about your local park. Who is it built for? Is it mostly giant sports fields? Or are there well-lit paths wide enough for a stroller, plenty of clean restrooms, and playgrounds? Every single design choice sends a message about who is welcome and who that space is truly for. But here's the good news. None of this is set in stone. This research doesn't just leave us with the problems. It actually gives us a clear path forward. It gives us a blueprint for creating cities that are healthier and fairer for absolutely everyone. And the recommendations are so practical. Step 1, and maybe the most important, listen. Actually bring women and girls into the planning process from the very beginning. Step 2, design for safety. This isn't rocket science. It's stuff like better lighting, keeping the park well-maintained, and making sure there's good visibility. And third, add amenities that are truly inclusive, things that serve caregivers, kids, and people who just want a quiet place to sit, not just a field for sports. So I want to leave you with this question to chew on. This isn't just some academic exercise. This is about the place you call home. Take a look around at your local parks. Who do you see there? Who don't you see? And what could be changed to make that space a true sanctuary for every single person in your community?